This is chartingwealth.com market review for Monday, the 13th of April, 2015. First, hope that you have a great trading week. Here's where the market ended up on Friday. This is IYY, the total market. We always start by reviewing what's going on in the total market, and look here. Looks like we've been able to actually draw a trend line that encompasses three candles going up. Looks like down here we've got the makings, it may happen today, of a cross going up on the MACD, and you can also see the derivative oscillator. It also appears to be backing off, about to go over to green. Let's just see what happens. You can see also the Bollinger Bands have really tightened up, meaning that volatility has decreased, much more so than over here, just over the last few days. Now, let's back up from the 2-day chart and go to the 4-hour chart. Again, that's quarter the size, and let's see just what's going on there. You can see, as we've been talking, back on the 6th, where we saw the changeover occur. We saw actually a few days prior the derivative oscillator flip over, but then confirmed by the MACD, and some nice decent up movement. Now remember, April is the last of the big 6 months. We go into May, as the old saying, go into May, sell and go away. Well, that may very well be what happens. It happens most years. The big money goes on vacation. Then the market gets very, what would we say? It just gets very static, up and down. A little bit of volume can move a lot, and it's just it's much more difficult to chart. But we can see we now have ourselves a decent trend line. We're above that, trending up. And again, if you got back in here, you've been doing pretty well. We had some questions where the market was going to go right in here. If you're looking at these, not dojis, but again, some real questioning where the market was going to go, but it continued to move on up, and we continued to be able to use our indicators to tell us what was going on. Now, let's go from there. Let's back over to the 2-day chart, and then let's look at what's been going on the S&P. Now, again, we have an attempt here. Oh, yeah, we're on the 2-day chart, but let's go ahead and redraw this. We're trying to draw ourselves a good trend line. We don't have one yet. We have just 2 points connected, but again, we see the derivative oscillator's already flipped over, and the MACD is getting very close to crossing on the 2-day chart. We can see how this long downtrend appears to be coming to an end. And again, May itself is typically a good month for the S&P. Let's back off to the 4-hour chart. What do we see? Well, again, we see right around the 6th this good crossover going through, as we saw in the IYY, both the 30 and the 34 moving linear regression lines, and a continual movement up. This is also in parallel with the derivative oscillator, so it looks like we are continuing to see up moves, again above the trend line, so that looks good. We'll see how this week's total trading goes, but a nice start it appears to Monday. And let's back out to the 2-day chart once again and go to my favorite chart, which is the Qs. And again, we're working to draw a trend line that connects more than just 2 points. We could just about get 3 here, and that's fairly accurate, so we're getting close. I don't feel really great about that, but better than nothing. And we can see the Qs is reacting a little slower to the crossover going up. We're going to have to see if that is confirmed. If we back out to the 4-hour chart, we of course can see that the Qs crossed over a little bit after the NASDAQ, after the IYY, the total market in the S&P, and we've seen a nice clean movement up as opposed to some staggering that we saw with the S&P and the total market. And again, it's always nice when you have the derivative oscillator and the MACD crossing at about the same time, and at the same time moving through these moving linear regression lines, and of course staying above the trend line that we've been able to draw. So looking good. I wonder if the movement's going to continue up this week. Looks like it probably will. Looks like our big chart's actually rolling over, starting to go up from the bottom. And now lastly, Let's go back to the 2-day chart and let's take a look at gold. What is gold doing? Well, it's interesting. Gold, if we're here on the 2-day chart, we can see that we had a nice movement up in gold from about 111 all the way up to about 117. We then saw this doji appear about 4 days ago. That is a lot of indecision, breaking the trend line, and started to move down. Now, however, we still have a positive derivative oscillator. It has backed off some, and look at the MACD. The MACD has not paralleled that down move yet. Still crossed over, still divergent, hasn't really even tightened up. It's not even converged any. So what is gold doing? Well, from the charts, at least the 2-day chart, you can sure see where it appears to be rolling over, but there's a lot of push to keep it up. We saw it try to roll over here back on the 31st, and we had to redraw a trend line. It actually broke the trend line. We redrew another one. It's broken that one. Let's just continue to watch what gold does. Let's look at the 4-hour chart to give us some other idea. That's very interesting. It is moved over going down, but looks like it's trying to regain. Now, it has broken that past trend line. Re-breaking the trend line going up doesn't tell us a lot. We'll have to redraw a trend line, but let's keep our eye on gold. It doesn't look like gold has necessarily lost its up legs yet. It may, but we'll have to see that confirmed. That is where we stand starting on a Monday morning. I hope that you have a great week trading. We always appreciate you listening to us. We love to have your feedback. Let us hear from you. I wish you great as far as the trading week goes. Hope that you do really well in the markets. And remember, April, typically a good month, is usually the last of our 6 good months. Take care. Good trading.